Now, let me read this prophetic word. Now, this was given to me the week of June the 13th, 2022. It says, we are right in the middle of the greatest crime spree in human history since Adam sold us out in the garden. A lie is perpetrated first. Never has there been a time when a lie can grow so fast and so large as right now. Media changes the perception of the masses, and a man's perception is his reality. John 10:10 declares that the thief came not but for to steal, to kill, and destroy. The first phase of the pattern is done with a lie. Lying and stealing go hand in hand. You are witnessing the first phase, the sickness, the vote, inflation, is nothing but a breath of hot air from Satan's lungs. It's a lie. Interest rates are a lie. It's all fabricated. The trees and the crops do not know there is a shortage of any kind. The world leaders, 3 world leaders, have to be removed in order to complete this phase. Once completed, then they will move into the next phase, killing. Right now we're in the stealing phase. This will be something that would be like nothing ever seen before. But you have to remember, the Democrats would never give up their human sacrifice, speaking of abortion, unless they could have something bigger. If this is not stopped in the lie stage, once the other comes, it will eventually lead to the destruction stage. Do we let them move us into the second phase? It's traitors in the red that are allowing it. No one has the nerve to buck Obama, who is an image of Satan himself. It is time for people to take risks. It is time to speak out, see. It is in this time that the Lord will give us the nation we want. If we want an inferior nation, He will give it to us. He works with us as His co-laborers. And that's what I heard the Lord say. He has no blood, so He has no regard for blood. And if you want to know the spirit that's possessing some of these politicians, that's it. Anytime you can see people stand up and give an agenda that they could slaughter the unborn without thought, that they could kill one after another and then sell their body parts to the highest bidder and sell everything down to their blood to advance something they want going. Whenever you see people like that, whenever you see people who could go in, develop a proxy war that's not even a real war, just to turn everyone against one world leader and kill their own people to make it a reality, you're looking at someone who is controlled by that merciless being. And you have to remember that. You're dealing with a spirit, and some of these people yield themselves to it on purpose. When it gets to be this far gone, and you see covenants being violated, and you see murders happening, and I'm not just talking about somebody getting mad and murdering somebody, I'm talking about agenda to where they're not annihilating whole generations of people. I mean, when you take people and you're willing to kill your own people to advance a new world order, you are evil. And so when it gets to this point, prophets are brought on the scene in order to confront that. Now, what a prophet does, one role of a prophet, is they bring in heaven's tribunal, almost a military court, into the earth. And they'll bring that up before, not that the prophet's trying anybody, but the prophet's mantle will bring the court into the earth and stand before kings and say, thus saith the Lord. This is what the word says. Thus saith the Lord. And how then those political people have to answer. They have to respond. They have been summoned to court and they are being tried. Remember when Well, you don't remember it, but when they, the handwriting on the wall in the day of Daniel, and Belshazzar was drinking out of the cups that had been taken in captivity of Jerusalem, and he had the gold cups of the temple that were dedicated to the Lord, and he came in and he began to worship idols and worship their gods out of the cups of Yahweh, and he was holding those, drinking and having ungodly parties using the utensils of the temple. And suddenly the fingers of a hand, not the hand, the fingers of it, appeared and began to write on the wall, Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. And no one could interpret it, but it brought an awe and a fear upon the people and the king. And he began to cry out for someone who could read this writing. None of the occultic people could read it. No one could read it. So his mother came up and said, listen, there is a prophet here. There is someone here. And he said, he advised your grandfather, Nebuchadnezzar. He knew these things. He advised all these people, and he brought him in. And Daniel, the prophet, brought the court of heaven in. How do you know? Because he told him, he said, you knew what your father did. You knew what happened in his day. You knew how he was reduced to the level of nothing. You knew all of this. And yet, you would still do this. And he said, I'll read your writing. He said, Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. You have been weighed in the balance and found wanting. The tribunal court of heaven has come into your presence. And Daniel brought the presence of the tribunal court into that wicked king and tried him right there. And when heaven tried him, the verdict was written, it was settled, everything was done, and Daniel said, before the night passes, you will die. And sure enough, he did. So the role of a modern prophet is you see them come on the scene in force, when you see kings go rogue, and you see nations who have broken covenant, and you see wicked people, and you see an evil agenda push up on the scene, slaughtering innocent blood, doing their own agenda. Prophets have to be brought on the scene to bring the court of heaven into that king's realm.